Welcome everybody to look at a brand new 4K release from Arrow Video. Yes, they have another one out, and it is 1981's Outland, which is directed by Peter Hyams, who I think is a really rather highly underrated director. Favourites from him would be like 2010, The Year We Make Contact, End of Days, The Relic, Narrow Margin, the 1990 version, and Sudden Death. But I've seen 11 from him in total, and I don't think I've been disappointed by any one of his films. This is a science fiction thriller clocking in at 109 minutes long, had a budget estimated around 14 million, and in the US made around 17 to 20 million, so a reasonable success, but not the kind of blockbuster that lead star Sean Connery would be used to. Seen him in 40 other films. Obviously, we've talked him to death already earlier this year due to the release of the Bond films that he was in a Steelbook 4K format. But other favourites would be like the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which is definitely my favourite of that series, as well as The Hunt for Red October, The Name of the Rose, The Hill, The Offence, and The Molly Maguires. Probably one of those actors that has been in the most films to start with "the" in the title. Also stars Peter Boyle, who was in Swashbuckler, Taxi Driver, and Young Frankenstein. And finally, Francis Sternhagen, who was in Raising Cain, Communion, and Misery. So on the sunless moon Io, Marshal William T. O'Neill goes toe-to-toe with the corrupt manager of a mining colony and his gang of roughnecks while investigating a rash of worker suicides. So yeah, Sean Connery is the lead in the role of the Marshal, and if it wasn't for him in that role, ultimately this film would somewhat fall apart, as he is what keeps this film together. As with anyone else with less talent and less on-screen charisma, just wouldn't work. That isn't to say that this film doesn't have any other positives, but Connery really does make this film worth the watch. Peter Boyle and Francis Sternhagen also offer up solid supporting roles, or performances even. The practical effects look great, especially since this was the first film to use Intravision, which helps make them look all the more convincing. The action is good, the score by Jeremy Goldsmith is a classic of the genre, the pacing is on point, the violence is effective. We get a couple of head explosions, for instance. Probably not the best head explosions you've ever seen, but they are fairly good, and I've seen a lot worse. It is well shot, and though the plot and script are hardly going to set the world on fire, especially since they do have some eerily similar elements to them to the 1952 Western High Noon, which is another 4K release we reviewed earlier this year. Um, they do nonetheless offer up enough excitement, intrigue, and even some laughs to make this an overall and highly engaging effort. So, yeah, it's one of my favourites from Connery. It's not perfect, like I said. Obviously, there are elements that aren't particularly original, and the opening starts off with a lot of facts about where we are, what we're dealing with in terms of the company and such, which is a little bit exposition heavy, but at least it's not about the plot or anything like that. So yeah, it's not like a massive, screen crawl of text or anything like that. But yeah, it is a little bit exposition heavy in that regard. But this release is absolutely fantastic from our video. They've really pulled out all of the stops as far as the artwork goes, with this new artwork on the front of the sleeve cover and or slip cover, and yeah, it's done by Pi Par. Don't think we've had anything from them before, but regardless, yeah, excellent looking artwork. Basically depicts one of the people getting their head exploded inside the spacesuit. So that's why it's all red inside of there. But really rather nice, vivid colours going for it. And then we also have new artwork again from the same person on the sleeve of the case itself. Now, usually when we get a really nice slipcover from our video, the artwork on the slipcover is replicated on the sleeve for the case, and that is not the case here, and that's really, really nice. And again, just shows that they've gone to town with the artwork. Perhaps the artists themselves came up with both of them for the slipcover, and basically told our video to choose either one. And they were like, oh, well, we'll just put the other one on the sleeve, basically, and pick the one they like the most on the slipcover. So, yeah, and we also get a really rather nice, vivid 4K disc with a print on it there, which is basically the name of the mining operation, or the mining colony that they're on. So it's called Conam 27, because it's a con amalgamate. So yeah, really nice. You actually see that logo in the background in one scene, actually, to be honest. So it's nice to have it follow through on the disc. We also get a really rather nice booklet, again, with new artwork, which again is inspired by one of the scenes in the film. It carries on to the reverse. So inside you get your cast and your crew, and then you get Dismantling the Rotten Machine by Priscilla Page. You get Outland, The Future is Privatized by Brandon Streisnig. And then we get back the presentation and production credits as well as on top of that, shots from the film. There's the legend himself, Sean Connery. So yeah, and we also get a double-sided poster. So we get the new artwork that we've seen on the slipcover already, which I really like. I love how vivid the colours are. Obviously the film isn't quite that colourful, although it is really well lit and shot. But yeah, it's definitely a film that is within a a corporate working space. But yeah, still fantastic. Have I got that the way around? Yeah, fantastic looking poster. Just love the colours. Quite frankly, the only thing I wish it was on slightly thicker paper and was bigger, quite frankly. But then we also get the original poster as well, which I still also really like. So yeah, I like the fact that the poster is sci-fi in its own way, but it also looks quite old school in terms of looking like a western, which obviously fits the fact that it's a kind of a western sci-fi as well as a sci-fi thriller. Although a lot of people do also think it's quite adjacent to the Alien universe as well, because in terms of the way that it looks quite similar. You've also got the same kind of thematic weight that is in Alien as well, in terms of isolation, being in this lonely place, because even though it's a colony, there's only about 2,200 people there, so it's only a small town, and obviously you are isolated from every other human pretty much out there as well. The nearest space station is 70 hours away, and it takes a whole year to get back to Earth, so you are really rather quite isolated. But more relevant to the Alien film Alien from 2 years prior is the fact that obviously we're dealing with corporate greed, and workers are just seen as expendable for profit, which again is the case with Alien, as obviously they are designated to put their lives in harm's way just so the corporation can get their hands on this alien specimen. And yeah, and then the 4K look of it as well looks excellent. Now, I'm not going to say I'm bang up to date with the Blu-ray that I have. Last time I saw that was 6 years ago. So I'm not fully up to speed on how that looks in comparison to this, but it still looks great. You've also got 2 different audio options as well. So it's had a brand new 4K restoration from the original 35mm camera negative by Arrow Films themselves. Let's just check the booklet to see if there's any more about what was done for it. So yeah, exclusively restored by Arrow Films, just to be put more of a finer point on it. And it's presented in its original aspect ratio 185:1 with stereo and 5.1 audio. I'm pretty sure the 5.1 audio was also part of the Blu-ray that came out 13 years ago. So I'm not sure if it's the same as that or a new remaster of that or anything. But then we've got a film presented in 4K resolution in HDR10 and Dolby Vision. The original 35mm camera negative was scanned in 4K 16-bit at Warner Brothers Motion Picture Imaging. Another reason why I am, yeah, like I said in one of my last 4K film reviews, is obviously Warner Brothers are potentially going to get bought up. A lot of people are saying it's going to be Netflix that is going to be doing it, and if that is the case, then this is another one of those films that if, Warner Brothers were bought out by them before this came out, might well not have ever had a release in the first place. So yeah, does make me worried that buyout, to be honest. The film was also restored in 4K and color graded at Silver Salt. The original stereo track was restored by Bad Princess. So yeah, it doesn't look like there's been any restoration on the 5.1 audio, so that could just be the same as the Blu-ray from 2012. And all materials for this new master were made available by Warner Brothers. Again, would Netflix ever make material like that available when they could just stick it on their streaming service and say, pay our subscription service instead of buy outright? I doubt it. And then QC review was completed by Pixel Logic. So yeah, a lot of detail in terms of the restoration in the booklet there. Then we also have optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, archive audio commentary by writer-director Peter Hyams. Pretty sure that was also on the Blu-ray release. But we do have brand new audio commentary by film critic Chris Alexander, a corridor of accidents, a newly filmed interview with writer-director Peter Hyams, Outlandish, a newly filmed interview with director of photography Stephen Goldblatt. Introvision, a newly filmed interview with visual effects artist William Messer. So obviously I mentioned Introvision in my review, and yeah, it really does look great. To be honest, it looks far of a higher production budget, or it looks like it has a far higher production budget than it actually does, and yeah, it partly is because of Introvision itself. Then you got No Place for Heroes, a brand new appreciation by film scholar Josh Nelson. Hollywoodland Outland, a brand new visual essay by film historian Howard S. Berger. Theatrical trailer, as well as a teaser trailer as well. Image gallery, and obviously the new artwork that we've already shown you off already. So yeah, the film itself gets a 4 out of 5, but I do, quite frankly, have to top my hat to Arrow Video for the amount of effort that has gone through to this. Obviously, not only have they restored the film in 4K and done a lot of work in behind that as well, but just the physical presentation as well in terms of the new artwork that is carried through the entire release. It's not just like they've copied and pasted one piece of new artwork onto other parts of the release itself. Obviously, that has happened with the poster, but you know the new artwork is so great that I have no issue with that at all. But they've not done it with the sleeve, which is great. And then obviously we have the original artwork on the sleeve itself as well, in case you want to swap it round. But then obviously I have the booklet and yeah, the disc as well, having it with the Conam 27 on it as well. Yeah, it's just all excellent, and yeah, just easily one of my favourite releases from Arrow Video this year, and one of my favourites in general, because I do love the film. It's a solid 4 out of 5. Obviously I do have my issues with it, but on the whole it's a really enjoyable effort, and one that I do highly recommend seeing, especially if you are a fan of Peter Hyams or Sean Connery or just sci-fi in general from the 80s. So yeah, highly recommend it if you haven't seen it already, but if you have, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.